All right, Fred Warner has signed, and the last huge piece of 49ers offseason business is finally done. What an offseason it's been. I only have a few minutes today, so just want to go over it quickly. My article on Fred Warner's contract is out. You can check it out at The Athletic, and I am about to share the link in the comment section for you. There you go. So Fred Warner and the 49ers have agreed to a 5-year, $95 million deal that makes Fred Warner the highest paid linebacker, as you'll see here in the NFL, by average per year. 5 years, 95 million, 19 million per year, 18 million per year for Bobby Wagner of Seattle. Warner passes him. Check it out on The Athletic. And it really just went right along with what we expected it would go as. The 49ers, all they had to deal with in this Fred Warner situation was a potential standoff with Indianapolis linebacker Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard is just like Fred Warner. He's an all-pro. He's a young linebacker, and he's in line to make a lot of money. We weren't sure if Fred Warner was going to sign first or if Darius Leonard was going to sign first, but what we did know is that the linebacker who did pull the trigger ahead of the other one would have to deal with the other linebacker using the initial deal as leverage for his own deal. So in all likelihood, Fred Warner will not remain the average per year king for all too long. You can expect Darius Leonard that exceeds Warner's in terms of average per year. But here's the good news for Fred Warner. Average per year is a vanity contest. We saw it with Trent Williams, one-upping David Bakhtiari by making sure his contract was $138.06 million per year instead of just 138. That ensured that Trent Williams would make more money than David Bakhtiari as far as average per year. But a lot of that doesn't even come into play because so much of that money is not guaranteed. It all comes down to, for NFL players, smart agents and smart NFL players too, fully guaranteed money. And Trent Williams is also a smart guy. He made sure he got plenty of fully guaranteed money in his deal. But the vanity portion of it was important to him. For Fred Warner, it doesn't appear that the vanity portion of this is as key. He's in a situation where he got $27.5 million fully guaranteed, which is the second most all-time of all linebackers, ahead of even Bobby Wagner, behind only C.J. Mosley, who got a ridiculous amount, $43 million guaranteed. But Warner, in essence, set the fully guaranteed market at $27.5 million. And because the 49ers were willing to pass those guarantees on to him, he was willing to blink first. He was willing to beat Darius Leonard to the punch. And guess who's happy about that? The San Francisco 49ers. They love the fact that Fred Warner signed before Darius Leonard because the 49ers are in a very tight salary cap situation. In fact, the 49ers, after this Warner signing, if you look at my salary cap spreadsheet, something that I'm going to share right now on the screen, they're going to be really up against it. You don't really know until the 53-man roster cutdowns about the exact nature of the 49ers salary cap situation entering the season. But as I make this bigger, you will notice that the 49ers, and there's a lot of you logged on to this salary cap spreadsheet right now, which is nice. Right here, you will notice the 49ers are at only $4.4 million of salary cap space, and that's before the Fred Warner contract is even considered. Now, of course, when I made this spreadsheet, I gave you the chance to extend Fred Warner on your own. So you guys can go around and play around with this. And the extension, I predicted that Fred Warner's cap hit for the 2021 season would rise from $3.63 million to $7 million. So let's give Fred Warner his extension right there. Beautiful, $7 million. Now we can go up, and the spreadsheet automatically reacts to us and says the 49ers only have $1 million left of salary cap space based on my projected 53-man roster. Now, will the roster be slightly different? Possibly. Will the 49ers have a little bit extra, chump change to do some good stuff? Maybe. But the point is that they have very little breathing room if their 53-man roster ends up looking the way I expect it to with Fred Warner's new contract under the books. We don't know the details behind the numbers of Fred Warner's deal yet. I do predict that the 2021 cap hit will be somewhere between $8 and $9 million, maybe $7 and $9 million if you're being conservative. And even then, they'll still be down to about $1 million. So what does that mean? That means that I think the 49ers will have to restructure at least one player between now and when the 53-man roster cut down happens in early September. The good news is, though, that they have just finished an epic spending spree that lasted over a calendar year, and they have fit all of it under the salary cap. Let's consider this. First, the 49ers signed George Kittle to record money. That was back in August of 2020. So that was less than a year ago. That set the pace for all tight ends. Then we fast forward to the offseason of the 2021 season. And the 49ers spent record money on Trent Williams. They spent big money on Alex Mack, considering the fact that he's going to be 36 years old. And they signed 20 other free agents, including Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback, who's also earning record money for his position. Fast forward another 4 months, and now the 49ers have spent record money on Fred Warner. If you've lost count, that is 4 players that the 49ers have signed to record money for their respective position groups over the last calendar year, plus about 20 other free agents who the 49ers really felt they needed to either re-sign or sign initially to their team. Because of that, they pushed a lot of chips in to the table, the middle of the table in this 2021 season. And all the while, they have managed to keep Jimmy Garoppolo and also Trey Lance, who's going to earn $6.2 million on the cap this season, on the roster. So, I mean, the 49ers are doing more than just having their cake and eating it too. They're trying to have their cake. They're trying to eat their pizza. They're trying to eat their burrito. They're trying to have their fried chicken sandwich. They're trying to have everything at once and have it too. So they're trying to eat and have their food at the same time. And I think they've done an excellent job at it. Will this come back to bite them in 2022? We will see. The great reset button that the 49ers have is getting rid of Jimmy Garoppolo's contract in 2022. Now, I don't know if that's going to solve every single problem because they have over $190 million in liabilities on a max $208 million cap with only 35 players for next year. But what the 49ers have told us is that they're going to cross that bridge when they get to it. They obviously have made a long-term play by drafting Trey Lance and trading all those first-round picks for a chance to draft him. But the more pressing immediate concern right now is the short-term play that the 49ers are making for 2021. This Warner deal is part of it because they want to keep him happy. The Trent Williams deal is obviously part of it. All those free agent signings with veteran salary exceptions, you got to tip your cap to Parag Marate for making it fit, are all part of it. And obviously keeping Jimmy Garoppolo is part of it. But I'll tell you this much. If you're going to spend big money on players, and if you're going to be right up against the cap, then you might as well spend it on a guy like Fred Warner, who is excellent in coverage, has developed into one of the best tackling linebackers in the league, is the commander of your defense with the radio in his helmet, and has made 51 of 51 possible starts. Durability that a team with injury issues really, really appreciates. So the 49ers are in a position now where they push the chips in for 2021. The spending spree is over. Now it's ready to take the field at training camp next week, play football, win a Super Bowl, because that's what they're set up to do. That's what they've spent to do. They're up against the cap. They've managed to, almost miraculously fit all these expenditures in through the offseason. So let's go out and play football and see what happens. There's one question that I will answer because there technically is one more piece of offseason business, and that's, can you discuss the Lance contract offset language issue? Now, I am not sure that this is an offset language issue, but I'm assuming that it is. You guys know me. I don't like to report anything that I'm not certain about, but I will speculate and say when it is speculation. Trey Lance hasn't signed his deal yet. Rookie deals are made a preset value. So we know that Trey Lance, once he does sign his deal, will have a $6.2 million cap hit in 2021. What we don't know is why exactly Trey Lance is not signing it. Sometimes it's a dispute between the agent and the 49ers representatives over how the signing bonus will be disbursed into his bank account. And other times, and this is probably more likely, it is a dispute about how offset language would work and what guarantees would still be there in the very unlikely episode that the 49ers release Trey Lance before his contract is up. We saw this happen with Solomon Thomas back in 2017. We saw Nick Bosa take a little bit longer to sign his deal in 2019. I think Mike McGlinchey signed sooner in 2018. And I'm not really sure when it happened for Brandon Ayuk and Javon Kinlaw in 2020. But the point is that, these are all negotiable things that are relatively minor in the grand scheme of things. But why wouldn't you negotiate if you can? But the thing is, since they are relatively minor, the deadline pressure of training camp will almost certainly force both sides to reach a conclusion. I mean, it would be absolutely shocking if Trey Lance doesn't sign his contract by the start of training camp, just like it would have been shocking if Fred Warner and this extension hadn't been finalized by the start of training camp. So we've already seen deadline pressure work its magic once, and I can sit here and nearly guarantee you that deadline pressure will work its magic twice and Trey Lance will sign. And that will be the last of the 49ers' money in this 2021 offseason. They may even have to restructure after that. Anyway, when those Fred Warner details come through year by year, cash flow, everything, I'll be back on here with another YouTube Live. For now, check out the article. It's right there. Fred Warner and the 49ers finish up a year-long spending spree. All right, everybody, thanks for joining. We'll talk to you next time.